Prologue, an excerpt from an Orcish legend. Uru-Vakuvar was a god of ill patience and quick to dismiss an incapable creation. For a time, only truly broken creatures were cast aside, but eventually, a creature capable of questioning its own existence was rejected, down to the pits of darkness with the rest of the rejects. She was unfinished without form, only a thought, a mind, a collection of emotions wrapped around a soul. She decided to name herself Nira, and her prison to be the underworld. Over the centuries, she learned more about her world, the countless bodies refused and tossed aside. A soul without a body, given enough time, will find a host. Her first body was that of a creature of the arachnid family, dead and decaying. There is no telling how long it had been sitting dormant. Walking was an experience she was all too excited for. Moving through the landfill, her soul was dragged in multiple directions. Like a magnet, it was attracted to other creatures, living or dead. Leaving her 8-legged body was quite the experience, but she soon found herself in another host, then another, each time leaving a piece of herself behind, a shred of her being, giving them life, focus, and festering hatred. The more she inhabited, the more her anger towards her creator grew. Like a virus, her influence spread throughout the underworld, and so too did her power. At the height of her strength, desperation, and hatred, Nira rose up from her realm and destroyed Uru-Vakuvar, drinking from him, his godly power with her fangs. In her madness, she turned toward everything he loved and sent her armies of the damned to crush them out of existence. They slaughtered trillions of creatures across many of Uru-Vakuvar's worlds. Orviran, god of Ganora, was given a world ripe with fearsome creatures. A powerful orc with large Camcredge horns, he stood a staggering 10 feet tall from head to foot. His strength was unparalleled, and his weapon, a mighty axe of legend having the ability to change forms depending on the user's needs. He would battle them, and even though he would win every time, it was not enough to face both Nira and her armies. His people always relied on him to save them, but in this they became weak. Orviran watched as his mortal followers were wiped away by a wave of darkness. This destroyed his confidence, yet he clung to his weapon and fought tirelessly against the horde. Nira made a clear error in leaving the god to his fate, expecting her armies to wither him down to nothing. Eventually, he would abandon his dead world and try to save another instead. Suniakari, goddess of Doromine, was as close to a failure as one could come without being considered as such. She was mistakenly imbued with unique powers, being able to materialize objects and shape matter at will. Uru-Vakuvar had always feared she would usurp him as the creator. Her world, Doromine, was a strange and extremely beautiful one. Its creatures lived lavishly due to the power Suniakari gave them. Like all the gods, Suniakari felt the death of Uru-Vakuvar, but she was the only one to choose to investigate, leaving her world. Nira's rampage was halted by Doromine. Their powers over magic could make a useful addition to her ranks. Nira begged them for mercy and told them she had no chance of defeating them. The creatures of Doromine accepted her plea and allowed a council with their strongest inhabitants. Upon Suniakari's return, she found Dorrance changed. Nira spread her influence on the council, then to the world governments. Suniakari's followers were hunted and killed or turned. Nira followers grew until Dorrance was almost entirely hers.
I'm sorry.
With tears in her eyes, Suniakari destroyed her own world and all of those who once celebrated her to keep her magic from becoming the product of Nira. Kirak, goddess of Uruvakuvar's newest world, was lucky. A few days before the coming storm of Nirayir's army, a familiar face arrived at her world. Porviran met with her, angry and terrified. He told the story of Ganora's demise and of the danger facing Kirak and her young world. Its inhabitants were quick to offer their lives in the coming battle. Porviran, however, found it difficult to accept that these mere mortals could do anything but cry for help. Strangely, whether you are a god or not, warriors always find a language they can communicate with, a mutual respect that you are not born with and cannot imitate. Stories swapped over a roaring bonfire of the many battles they have been in and the experiences they have had. It took only one intoxicated night of true stories for the creatures to hail Porviran as the god of war. Time drew short for the last remaining world. The skies blacked, and a fierce chill covered the land. Porviran knew these signs, and with Kirak's help, assembled all of the finest warriors into one place. Elves, humans, fairies, dragons, harpy, and many more. In a hail of blackened hatred, Nirayira's armies descended on the gods in their regions. The ground crumbled and shook with fear as the wave of evil washed over the land. Porviran found a moment to look around, seeing the chaos being only slowed by the brave souls following him in Kirak. His blood boiling, he let out a terrible roar, which was heard by both Nirayira and Suniakari. Nirayira answered quickly, throwing herself at the chance for a good fight. Suniakari, giving form to her depression, had become a skeleton. Porviran's call was initially rejected, as she was too heartbroken to do anything. However, the climactic battle of the gods versus Nirayira was something to behold. Both the armies of the mortal world and the horde were knocked to the ground as the three gods battled. Suniakari watched from what was once Dorrance and felt a few times of help. The battle continued, but the mortals were growing wary. If the unyielding enemies did not kill them, fatigue did. Time was running out. The gods and a few thousand warriors stood alone in the Sea of the Damned, with Nirayira ready to deal a final blow to them in their world. Before she could, Suniakari appeared before her. Summoning all of her power, she ripped open the barrier to the underworld and pulled the armies in with her. Screaming and wailing, the beast could do little more than cower before the violent wind which dragged them in. With such a large source of power now gone, Nirayira could do little to stop the god of war from finishing her. To this day, he remains the protector of this world, alongside Kira. The goddess of magic resides still in the underworld, where she watches over the countless numbers of mindless and raging beasts attempting to find their lost soul.